Gerrard! Hello! Here we go! Usher, Keegan, 1-0. Still Barnes. That's a fabulous individual goal. Corner taken quickly, Origi!
Hello and welcome to the Liverpool Way podcast. We're a bit late recording this one as Chris is off doing family stuff and I'm still sick as a dog and haven't been able to record until now. But I'm joined for this by Ian Brown to look back on a fairly routine win over Leicester that increased our lead at the top to 7 points. Although Arsenal are playing right now as I speak and will probably cut it down to 6, albeit having played a game more than us. Alright Brownie, we'll start off. Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Plenty of eating, drinking, all that usual stuff. I mean, I do that all the time anyway.
I know, I was going to say, what's different there?
Yeah, maybe the intake goes up ever so slightly, like 5% or so.
Yeah.
But no, being boss, mate, yeah, really good. How's yours been?
Sick. And not in like a down with the kids way. No,
yeah, the modern way.
Yeah, we're all sick, like just can't shake it. Didn't go the game. That's 2 in a row I've missed now just with this fucking virus. So just hoping I'll be alright for the United game. Like I'm definitely not missing that one. Like so.
You're like the Darren Anderton of fucking podcast.
I never used to be though. I was just just having a little run of bad luck at the moment with this virus. But no, I've got to be back for United because I've just
you can't miss that. Mate.
That's one where like it feels like I've said it before, but like the United game in like the last title winning season, that was kind of a pivotal one, wasn't it? And I know this is a bit early, but it's still got the potential for that. If like we get a couple of other results go our way in the meantime, like so.
100%.
I mean, if they were to blow that tonight, that'd be fucking too good to be true, wouldn't it, really?
How great is it, though, to be back in this situation again? I know we had it last year as well, but where you're just looking at other results, like, just makes you feel proper alive, doesn't it?
Do you know,
it's riding on everything.
Yeah, it's surreal, isn't it? But you know, like, the best part about it all is you look at the table and you're like, where the fuck are Man City? You're not having to worry about, like, them chasing you down, them not being a factor is massive. It's like I think that's like the biggest part to all this is like they're not in the equation at all, and that makes such a difference to your mindset because it's not that like I'd be scared of Man City or anything, but you know what they're capable of doing because they've done it and we've been in those situations against them and it often doesn't end well. But like you take them out of it. It doesn't feel like Chelsea or Arsenal could go and win like 15 on the bounce or something like that, which is, maybe it's not going to take that, but it's not going to be far off it. I mean, you know, you seem to forget, like, you know, when you look at like the points, I mean, we haven't even spoken about the game yet, but we'll get to that. You know, when you look at the points and it's like, okay, 7 points ahead to Chelsea with a game in hand.
Yeah.
So, regardless of whether we win the game in hand or not, 7 points. You look at 7 points and think, that's not really that much because it's like you lose a couple and they win a couple and then like it's down to 1 point and that. But the other way to look at it, and like I don't know if someone posted it in the chat or someone, I seen it on Twitter or what, or I heard it somewhere anyway, and it was like, if you think 90 points is going to win the title, for us to get to 90 points, I think we had something like leeway of like 15 points we could drop to get there, and Arsenal's was 6. Yeah. And when you look at it that way, I think it puts a totally different slant on it, and it just shows how hard it is if you're the chasing team, because you're really relying on like the team above you to not just slip up a few times, but to kind of massively drop off, because we will slip up a few times, there's absolutely no doubt about that, but so's everyone else. You know?
That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
You've got to avoid doing, like, because as you say, it's inevitable that you will drop points. What you have to avoid doing is doing it consecutively. So when we drew 2 games in a row recently, that's where you thought a little bit, oh no, come on, you can't be doing that.
But the others did as well.
We know as well that draws kill you, don't they?
Yeah.
Like in this league, it's like just 1 point. There's nothing in that. You may as well lose a couple of games and draw 4 or 5. That, like, statistically, when you look at it, But yeah, like you said, I mean, the boss thing about yesterday, going into the game, and we'll promise, Chris, we will talk about the game in a minute, was just the fucking results earlier on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every single red was just bouncing into that game. I mean, there was a few rumours about it possibly being off, weren't there, with the fog and everything. I was like, oh no, don't fucking do that, because you don't want to have too many games in hand, do you? It starts getting a little bit tricky when they start stacking up. So when we saw that the game was going to be fine, it was like, just because we all knew we were going to win that game. It was going to, and in the end, it was a regulation win. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second.
Eventually.
It wasn't without its challenges, but, you know, that was always going to happen. A bit like what you probably think is going to happen with the Arsenal game that's going on now. They're going to win that game, because although we always go on about the quality of the league being really good, there are certain games where they are pretty much bankers. I think Leicester, especially now, since they've made the change of manager, you look at some of their recent results, it was only going one way, that game.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, the point about the other teams dropping points, it's just fucking nuts, isn't it? Like, the Chelsea situation for me is a bit mad, because their manager's even coming out in here and saying, no, we're not ready to win the league. And you think to yourself, is he trying mind games? But he seems to actually
I think he's right. I know it looks like mind games, but there's good reasons for him saying that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But you don't want your manager saying it, though, do you?
No.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't want my manager saying that, even if he thought it deep down, because that's going to seep into the players. So how much of that comes into what happened with them yesterday? I don't know. They might have, even if they'd have gone into it thinking, yeah, hang on, we're in this title race, maybe it'd have gone a different way. You don't know, do you? It's hard to say.
I think it'd be a bigger problem if he came out and said, yeah, well, if the same stuff that we're saying is like, yeah, we can't win the title, not with this fucking keeper. You know, if he was coming out and saying stuff like that, then I'd be like, oh, hang on a minute.
Fucking far off.
But I do think he's trying to like take pressure off them. What he's saying is actually, it's fair comment. But I do think he'd be saying behind the scenes to the players, look, everything I'm saying here makes sense, but we are up there. And as long as you stay up there, you know, if you can stay up there for another couple of months, then that changes things completely and you are right in it. But because it's like it's early and they just got on a good run, I think they won 7 on the bounce. I don't think they're that good. They were always going to come back down to earth. Not necessarily with the result they had against Fulham, but like, I think, you know, they drew it out with Everton, didn't they? And like, that wasn't a surprise really. Because it's not like this is the Chelsea of old. You know, there's a lot of exciting players. They've got some real talent there, but they're not ready.
There's a lot of naivety there, though.
Yeah, they're not ready. It's simple as that.
Me, the goalkeeper and the centre halves. I mean, you could even say that the whole of the back line. That's not a title winning defence. I don't think.
Agree.
That's where they'll focus.
Plus, there's the been there, done it aspect of it, which we've got a lot of players who have, and they haven't. So that comes into it as well. But that's what I'm saying. It's like City not being part of it. It just changes things massively. Especially, just going back to what you said there about draws kill you. That's true, but it never used to be. Draws kill you because of fucking Man City. That's what changed all that, where it gets to the point where you think you're doing all right because you've only lost a game. Like, you've lost like 1 in 30. And you think, we're doing all right here. We're all right. We've drawn 6, but that's not bad. And then you look and you're still like 4 points behind City because they just changed the landscape of everything, where it gets to the point where like draws are kind of almost disastrous at times. But they never used to be. I mean, fucking hell.
No, you know,
Arsenal's Invincibles, Brownie. They won the title and I think they drew fucking 25 games that season. It was something mental like that. They finished with like fucking 81 points or something.
Yeah, no.
The landscape changed so much.
It did,
but this is a bit more normal this year. This is more of a normal title race.
The thing with the draws for me, I always think back to 08-09 now. Do you know what I mean? When we had that chance to really put our foot down and we were drawing like 0-0 at home, was it, with West Ham, and
2-2 with Hull,
things like that. Yeah, and that's to me what's always in the back of my mind, where if you have too many of them, it just gives encouragement to the other teams. But I do think that your general point's right. We are back to a normal title race. It hasn't been normal for like a decade, has it? And this one feels normal. But I mean, we need to talk about it in depth a little bit more later on in the pod, I guess. But I'll just drop it here now. This feels different to me to last year, and I'll expand on that later. But let's talk about a game. Well,
there's no City for the start, so there's that. The game, it's weird because once again we've fallen behind early, which is a negative, and it's like feeds into this whole slow start thing. I thought we started really well.
First 5 minutes was boss.
We looked right at it, and then out of nowhere we've just conceded the goal. But I think that's different to starting slow, which at times we have done. But did you see a couple of weeks ago, Slot got asked about the slow start? And he went through each game and he said, like, I don't think it was a slow start. He said, but what happens sometimes, like, in the first couple of minutes of a game, one of their players goes down injured and there's a stoppage and it breaks the rhythm. And he said, like, and then he said last week against Fulham, he said that it was us, like, Robbo got injured and was down for ages. And it killed the momentum and it took us a while to get it back. And he said at the time I'm thinking it's slow start. He said, but it's when I've watched the games back, I see why it went like that. And he said a lot of the time it's not because we haven't come out, you know, and tried to, like, you know, play at a high tempo and really get after them. It's not so much that, it's just circumstances have hindered us a little bit. And, you know, it happened again where, like, we started well, but then we fell behind after 6 minutes, I think. So it's like, oh, look at that, another bad start. But it wasn't really. It was a bad start because we conceded, but it wasn't anything to do with, like, the performance or us being, like, ready for the game and anything. Because we did look good, didn't we? And then, I don't know where, like,
five, I mean, we had the chance, didn't we? Mo had a chance back post off a ball that got clipped over.
Gakpo cross,
I just thought if it just had a bit of an air of, like, if we get an early goal here, we're going to rack up a cricket score, you know, kind of thing. And then bang, you 1-0 down. And, I mean, I wrote some notes and on it, I kind of said, first chance they scored. And when you actually look back at it, it's not even a chance that's like a half chance. Like 9 times out of 10, you don't concede off that kind of scenario that happens there. And really, it's the little flick off edge that takes it in, isn't it? That's what turned.
Yeah, Alisson saves that easily.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, all right, well,
I do
talk us through it then. What do you think? Because you were the first person on the pod to raise the Robbo concern. What did you think about that goal? Did you put that on him or
Robbo on it? No, don't have a problem with Robbo. I don't have a problem with Trent. I mean, Trent's a little bit high, but, you know, that's going to happen. You're going to get a ball clipped over you, especially with the start that we had. I mean, Trent was bombing on, wasn't he? Like, from the first whistle, he's like playing as a winger.
And Gravenberg's covering as he's supposed to.
Exactly, I was just going to say.
So it's not like there's no one there. Yeah, that's not. It shouldn't be a problem, should it?
Yeah, he delayed him and everything. The lads put the ball in. For me, Virgil should have cut it out. When you watch the replay, Virgil lets the ball go across him. It would have been a stretch, but he'd have been able to put that out for the corner. I don't know why he didn't do it. That would have stopped it at source. But
I might have got his shorts dirty doing that.
Yeah, well, there is that, isn't there? That's how he plays, isn't it? And again, he was great, you know what I mean? But when in isolation, when you just look at that goal, you think, yeah, you should have just cut it out. I don't have a problem with Robbo, really. It doesn't look brilliant, you know, because he doesn't kind of know where the ball is because of the way the lads took the touch and everything. But I don't think he's done anything wrong necessarily, and I think it's a pretty smart finish. You know,
I think it's
swivels
a good turn.
and hits it first.
He's done well. Like, Ayew
not every
but he's
goal,
done well there, to be fair.
Not every goal you concede needs to be a finger pointing exercise and saying, you know, I am saying Verge could have cut it out, but I'm not. You don't kick off about it, you know. Most of the time you don't concede a goal off that situation, so you just have to take it for what it is. The thing that concerned me was after that, I just thought we were sloppy. It felt like fucking Fabinho had jumped on a plane, came over and took everyone out for a big massive Christmas dinner. Like, there was too much sloppy passing going on. We looked a little bit lethargic. We seemed to have a game plan going into the game, which was get the ball wide and whip crosses in, and I couldn't understand it. I was like, what? Why? How many crosses did we put in the first half? Like, and it felt like it was playing to their strengths, you know, in terms of the centre halves, like Vestergaard and Connor Cody. They want to just be heading balls out, don't they? That's right in their wheelhouse. So I didn't understand why we were doing it. And then when we got set pieces, Trent was hitting the fucking first man every time.
Oh, the corners! Oh my god,
unbelievable. So it was just a bit of a frustration, I think, in the first half, and the goal before half-time was important, wasn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong, at no point did I think we weren't going to go on and win the game. It was always going to be a regulation win. It was just a case of when we got the goals, but getting the goal just before half-time's bossing it, because it gives you that little bit of a boost, and then you can come out flying for the second half, and what a fucking goal it was as well by Gakpo. It's like a trademark kind of Cody Gakpo goal, that now, isn't it?
Well, I'd say the trademark's the back post tap in, and that would be the second most likely type of goal is like the cut in and bends it in the far corner. But you know, going back to the crosses that we were putting in, it did feel like we were putting fucking loads in, but I didn't think that they were bad choices either. The way we were working the ball, we were getting ourselves into good situations, and then the ball gets rolled back to Trent, and you're thinking, yeah, whip that in. So I didn't think the decisions themselves were bad. It was just we were doing it too often. But I could understand that there was at no point were we putting crosses in and I'm thinking, what are you crossing it from there for? They were all good situations that we worked to put the crosses in, but there was just far too many of them. And if you think about it, if you're Vestergaard stood in the middle of the box like that, what are you wanting Liverpool to do?
Exactly.
You're wanting that all day, aren't you? So it does kind of play into their hands. But then we could have had 3 goals from Gakpo crosses to the back post. During that game, there was one for Curtis, 2 for Mo. We could easily have scored from those crosses, so I totally understand why the players were doing it. And we were a little bit unlucky not to score from them. But when you see how many crosses we put in, you're like, yeah, that's not normal. That's probably not the plan. It was just the way the game went. We worked those situations so well that the crossing positions were good. So players who are going to back themselves to put a good ball in the box, then, they're putting the ball in the box.
There were so many bad ones that weren't there. I mean,
my biggest problem was, like you said, with Trent and the set pieces. But, I don't know what we were even trying to do with them set pieces. Everyone lines up at the back post.
Oh, yeah.
And, we did that in pre-season, and a thing was made of it. People were like, oh, look at this, the new set piece coach is doing this. It didn't work in pre-season either. It looks good. You're like, oh, what's happening here? What are we doing? This is different. It wouldn't really lead to anything. And we've not seen it much this season. And then for whatever they've identified with how Leicester defend set pieces, they decided that's what they wanted to do, because we did it on more or less every corner. But I don't know what the plan is. You got Virgil stood in the middle, and then everybody else at the back, and they all just start running off in mad directions. And then we're putting a cross in. It's like, well, who's the cross supposed to be going to?
But the timing of it looked up.
I know.
They were making the runs.
That's exactly the problem.
Coming, then they would have to stop. Stand still.
Because I said in the chat,
why didn't you just go and stand there in the first place?
I said in the chat, it was like watching. It's like at the NFL, and it's like all the receivers start running, and the ball hasn't been snapped.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing? The timing was just so far off. So by the time Trent puts the ball in, you've just got players scattered all over the box. Some of them are still running. Some have stopped and had to go back. It just looked like a mess.
It did. You'd think the aim of that would be that the timing would be the cross comes in as they're all on the move, so that if you get your head to it, you've got the momentum and it's hard to defend that. But they just all run in, stand like a statue, and then the ball comes in, and it didn't even get past the first man. Is the funny point, really. It was just a complete waste of time.
But you wonder,
all this stuff about
do you think
that's
now? So do I. Yeah. And set piece coaches getting lauded, but no, it pisses me off. Would you not think that it's in Trent's head when he's looking in the box and then he sees people have stopped the runs and it's all just carnage in there, that impacts on him delivering the ball as well? Because he did it so often, and it's not like him. And his crosses in general play were fine. It's not like he was just having a shit game or anything. So I don't know what we were trying to do. I mean, if we do it again, then I'd like to see some sort of evidence of what the plan is and what we're trying to do with it, because it just looked like a mess to me.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, we've been on here enough times and lauded the kind of analysts for things that they've spotted, and that's been a theme from the season. I think that we're tactically being really good at spotting little things, making little tweaks and all that. But you've got to be honest, haven't you, and say when something doesn't work. And this is definitely an example where we've done something, seen something, didn't quite come off. Yeah,
that didn't work at all. But we did have chances in general play. Mo at the bar, Robbo with the post. We had a couple of, I think this was at 0-0, but Curtis had a couple of chances where he didn't shoot quick enough. It took too long. So there was opportunities there. So even though it wasn't fluid, we weren't at our best, I was never worried at any point.
No.
I was getting a bit frustrated with the time wasting and the fact that the ref was just allowing it. And when the board went up for 2 minutes,
oh my God,
that's scandalous. That needs investigating. How are you rewarding the team for the time wasting that they were doing by giving 2 minutes? And then on top of that, what makes it even worse, he played 2 minutes 12 seconds before he blew the whistle. Now we scored in that time.
You meant to get 30 seconds.
So he's added 12 seconds on for the goal.
Crazy.
So you're telling me that we scored a goal, celebrated it, and everyone got back in position for the restart in 12 seconds? It's probably closer to a minute. How's that happening? That's I know it's not a major issue, but that's something that needs investigating. You know, I think like they should be looking at it and going, how did you come up with that figure, and why did you only add 12 seconds on after there was a goal? What's going on there? Because that was just mental to me. I couldn't understand it. And then the second half, you get fucking,
9 minutes.
9 minutes, all because of the shitty fucking VAR checks, which we'll get to as well. You know, the desperation to try to find something wrong with goals. Jesus.
That was unreal, but yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, so we'll get to Cody's goal.
At half-time, when the half-time whistle went, I was like, you fucking what? Because we were on the attack as well, weren't we? We
were.
A dangerous attack coming.
We were.
And you thought, hang on, come on, let's, how often at Anfield does one goal become two dead quick? You know what I mean? You're up out your seat thinking, here we go, we're going to get another one in, and then the cunt blows his whistle.
Yeah.
No, the Gakpo goal was just... I don't know, it felt at that point a little bit out of nowhere. I was preparing myself mentally for, we're 1-0 down at half-time. Again, just to repeat it, I didn't feel like we weren't going to win the game. But, it's more of a challenge, isn't it? Obviously, when you get to half-time and you're a goal behind. That's just a fucking brilliant goal. I mean, the amount of times he does that, he's got... The defenders need to be more wise to that and start showing him outside a little bit more, I think. Because, I mean, what is his strongest kind of attribute as a player? I think everybody would say the same thing, wouldn't he? Just shooting from distance. He's got a hammer of a right foot, so when he's playing on the left, he's there for the reasons to invert and come inside and get shots off. So the defenders need to show him a little bit more down the line. I thought he'd done something really well to create the space, but he didn't even drop his shoulder that big. He didn't do anything particularly special to get inside. But once he got in there, I mean, what a fucking strike it was. Just perfect, wasn't it? Really good pace, power, precision. I think he's turning into a fucking really good player, by the way. Really, really good player. Because I've always thought since we brought him in, he's okay. You just describe him as, he's decent, you know what I mean? You wouldn't go any further than that, but I think he's really developing into potentially a top player. Because he changes games. He doesn't get the volume of goals that Mo gets, but he gets important goals at important times, doesn't he? And he was a bit unlucky with the one which obviously got chalked off in the second half as well. That was another good finish. So now he's really coming into his own.
Yeah, he's been great this season, and he's on a good run of goal scoring on the sly lately. Not many people are really making much of it, but I don't know exactly, but I think it's like 7 and 10 or something along those lines. So yeah, it's been really important, but obviously Mo's the outlier, the amount of goals he scores, and then everyone else is just chipping in, and it's enough, which is, it's fine. And if Mo was to go out for any reason, which hopefully he doesn't, I still think we'd be okay, because I think others would step up to, I'm not saying they produce the same numbers that Mo does, but I think other players will step up and improve their own output because it's needed. Whereas at the moment, it's kind of not. It's like, everyone's just doing their own thing and it's enough because Mo's doing his thing. Mo again, don't want to jump ahead too much. Obviously he's got the third goal, but it wasn't his best game. It wasn't a bad game either. But when you look at it, it's like every game he plays now, there's probably 4 or 5 moments where, he's getting shots away. I mean, at the Tottenham game the week before, he'd had 5 shots in the first 20 minutes. It doesn't look like he's doing... Okay, there was the one when he hit the bar, which was magical footwork to create the space and stuff. A lot of the time, it doesn't even really look like he's doing anything like that special to be getting chances. He just gets these chances. He's just always there.
Volume.
Yeah.
Monty says about him, he's just a volume machine, isn't he? And I thought, just going back to that Spurs game, that Jed Spence actually played him quite well.
I thought he had a good game,
You go back and look at the key moments of the game and you're like, how can you say he played him well?
But I don't know if anybody else could have done better than what Jed Spence did. I thought he played him as well as you probably could, all things considered. And people were raving about that Anthony Robinson the week before. And don't get me wrong, he was brilliant going forward. He had 2 assists and he was a constant menace. People tried to say, and look how quiet he kept Mo. I'm like, in the first half, every time Mo ran at him, Mo went past him.
Yeah.
Just because it didn't lead to anything.
We had 10 men, we would just ping them both. Yeah. Where he could use his strength and then get at him.
Might not have come to anything, but Mo was just running him and going past him every time. So don't be telling me he shut Mo down and he was defensively brilliant, because he wasn't. He was fantastic going forward, and that's what he does. But let's not get carried away here. Mo still beat him comfortably most times. But like Mo this season,
Mo down now. Like when Mo's not quite at it, it's because of himself. His sloppiness. Do you know what I mean? No defender ever shuts him down because you can't. But he had spells in games where you think, fucking hell, he can't even complete like a 5-yard pass at times, and then the next thing he's bending one in the top corner, and you're just like, what the fuck, man?
No, and I feel like this season, I think he's been really consistent in his performance levels. I don't think there's been like wild swings of like shite one game, great the next. I think he's producing more or less the same performance, which is he'll do some good things and he'll do some bad things, and then he'll do something decisive, like you know, a goal or an assist, and he's doing that literally every single game. So you can pick things out and go, well, fucking hell, what are you doing, Mo? That's like, a player of your ability should not be doing that. And then you'll pick things out and go, look at that, that's class. And then there's the decisive moments, like the goal, the assist. But I don't think there's any real fluctuation in his form. He's just doing the same thing more or less every game this year. We'll get to Mo later on, because I've got a question I want to ask you about him. So we'll come to that when we talk about his goal. Well, let's get to the start of the second half. I think the goal before half time just takes the wind out of their sails completely, doesn't it? Yeah. Like you, I didn't think, if we hadn't scored that, I still think we go on and win it comfortably anyway. I was never worried. Yeah. But when that happens, it's like, okay, the psychological blow of them conceding so late, you know, it's going to be tough for them. And then we score really early in the second half as well. So that kind of, it's like, yeah, you were ahead, but now you're behind. What are you going to do about it? And the answer was like nothing. They didn't. There was nothing that they could do, so they didn't even really try.
They just didn't want to get spanked.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's one of them. They didn't want to get spanked, and if they were still within a goal with like 10 minutes to go, or whatever, then they'll have a bit of a go at it.
Yeah.
But the second goal was a really nice team goal. Lots of players involved.
Yeah, Curtis was better than that. I didn't like Curtis in the first half, to be honest. He dropped back into that mode of just slowing things down when it didn't need to be slowed down, taking too many touches. Yeah. You mentioned it before. He had a couple of chances where if he just played a bit quicker, he's probably getting himself a goal. But he just seemed to be in that mode where he wanted to take a lot of touches. So no, it was good to see him get on the score sheet like quite quick, and he was involved in the build up to it, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah.
Like it almost looked like he'd slipped and lost the ball, but he did really well there. He was like kind of on the deck, wasn't he? And he still managed to get his foot to the ball to recycle it and keep the attack going. And then I don't remember, was it Maka who played the cross in?
It was, yeah.
Absolutely fired it, and that's a really good finish, really, with the way the ball came in, for him to like kind of just open his foot. He's obviously just let the pace that's already on the ball take care of everything. You just have to make sure you get the right kind of contact.
It almost just hits him on the foot. He doesn't have to.
Almost
doesn't have to like.
But if you watch the replay, he does.
No, I know what you mean.
His foot.
He just
at first, I thought literally it had hit him,
but he doesn't have to.
Much about it, but he does
go at the ball or stretch or anything. It just hits him on the foot, and he just cushions it. Cushions it nicely.
The same way, innit? Yeah, really good. So that was a good goal. I think Slot said after as well, like how much he liked that goal because it obviously involved quite a bit of a team, bit of build up to it,
in tight spaces as well.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Good stuff.
It might have actually been from like a second phase after a corner, because there was a lot of people in the box.
Yeah.
When that happened,
I don't remember.
I think it might have been. But yeah, so it's in really tight spaces because there's lots of players back there. We've got lots of players in the box, and just a little triangle on the right hand side. I think Mo plays it into Darwin, who lays it back to Curtis. That's when he sort of stumbles, gets it back to Mo. Maka makes a run on the outside. Mo rolls it to him, fires it across, and then Curtis is then gone into the box. Just really well worked. And
good goal.
I felt like that was probably that would lead to a quick third, and then that would be game over.
It just becomes how quickly you're going to get that goal, doesn't it? At that point, like how fast are you going to kill this game off?
Because
again, that was something you wanted it to come earlier, didn't you? That was the thing.
I was thinking of you during the half, because there was a passage of play where the back four passed it like along the back four and back again, and the only players who touched the ball for about a minute was our back four, as Leicester were just sitting off and going, okay, that's fine, you can have it. And although it's like, I know we're being patient and we're not forcing it and stuff, I was thinking, it's only 2-1. You don't want to let them hang around to like, you know, the last few minutes when they start like throwing men forward, because they've already showed they can score. So I did think that's something you do at 3-1, not 2-1. But I know you were like...
I actually... No, do you know what? You're probably going to be like, fucking hell, make your mind up here. I didn't mind it. Like, I was sitting watching it with my missus, and I was saying, I'd just do this for half an hour. Only because they had no interest of pressing our centre-halves. A lot of the time when teams come and they're sitting quite deep and everything, they'll still at least look like they want to try and nick the ball off your centre-half. But they literally just sat...
No, they would have let us do that all night.
Yeah, I'd have done it for half an hour and just walked off with the...
But when it gets to, like, you know, the last 5-10 minutes... At that point, if they're still hanging around, that's when they'll go, okay.
I know, but equally, if you then start trying to force it instead of just keeping the ball at that stage and you turn it over, then they're going to counter on you at that point, aren't they? So
the thing is, though, I just think they were so shit. I just think they were so shit. I felt like the risk was minimal at that point. I'm not saying force it by totally overcommitting, but I did think, oh, come on, lads, just get the third goal.
At what point were they actually going to go for it? Because, I mean, the third goal came... What?
82, I think it was, yeah.
Like, I don't recall.
Well, I think they would have probably waited till about 85 because they'll have known there's going to be a shitload of stoppage time as well. If they're still within one, that's when they'll start going for it. They did have one attack in the second half, and they could have scored from that. It was a reasonable chance, and he totally fucked up the finish. Daka just totally missed-kicked.
Yeah, he missed it.
If you look at that, like, Virgil's not getting a block in there. Virgil's not there. That's a free shot for him. If he catches that, he's getting a shot on goal. It was the same lad down the left, that Mamavidi or something. He actually was relatively dangerous when he actually had a chance to do something. But the way they played, it was like, you know, they had 2 attacks in the whole game. But he was involved in both. He's set up the goal, set up the other chance. But that was so bad from Daka. And it does make you think, well, it's a good job Jamie Vardy wasn't playing. Because Jamie Vardy, with a chance like that, it's bang, it's in.
He lives for that, doesn't
he? Yeah, he
like,
does, exactly.
Chance goal.
And like Daka was signed to be Vardy's replacement for a lot of money, and yet Vardy's still their main man, even now at 37.
I was going to say...
He's fucking boss. I love Jamie Vardy. He's just, I love watching him. I just think he's... For the type of player he is, he's the fucking master at his trade. Yeah, you know, just knowing like when to make those runs, what finish in each given situation. He's just so good at it. Yeah. And he's still as fast as he ever was. So it's made up when he wasn't playing.
Yeah, definitely. We were talking about that before the game, actually, when the team news came out. You know, one of the first things I looked for, because there was talk about him possibly not being fit and that. So, same as you, I was like, happy days. Not that you think he's going to get loads of fucking chances, but he's the type who doesn't need it, does he? Only needs 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So.
It's more so you think, well, they've got nobody else like him, so if you take him out, you're taking away like 50% of their goal threat, really.
Yeah. And obviously the way we play, you have that space to run into, don't you? And as you say, the thing that surprised me about watching him is like you would expect that, you know, your pace has got to be dropping off drastically once you start getting to your late 30s, and I don't even see any of that. He still looks like explosive. So yeah, that was definitely good that he wasn't playing.
It's Red Bull, gives you wings. You see him like when he's coming on as a sub and he's necking a can of Red Bull before he goes on the pitch and that. It's obviously it's obviously doing him good. Never did me any good, like. But
I was going to say, do you drink that as well?
Yeah. So after my playing career, I never used to drink it when I was playing. It's more something I discovered in my 40s.
It also Red Bull gives you bugs as well, I think.
Nah, it's not the Red Bull that's made me sick. Oh, do you know what though? I think I've had 1 can of Red Bull in the last 3 weeks since I've been sick. It's just I just can't face it. So maybe some good will come of it. Then? I know, maybe, I don't know. I've been drinking loads of pure orange, just trying to build up like me immune system and that. But no, it's nothing's working. Like, it's just grim. So yeah, but there's the second goal. I don't think we really did too much to get the third. We weren't really forcing it. There's a few chances. There was the Darwin snapshot. It was a nice little move. Good run.
Good football, that. Really good football.
Can't really do much more than that.
I don't know. I knew you'd say that. He's just hit it straight at the keeper.
It's not straight at the keeper. It's like it's a tight angle and he's gone across the keeper and the keeper's flicked his arm out and made a save. You know, you've not got time to set yourself and go, right, I'm going to play it right in the far corner. You're just running onto it at pace and you're trying to just whip it across. It's unlucky. It's not a bad finish. But you need your luck to be in. I thought he was just he worked hard. Some of his link-up play was fine, just not the goal threat that he always has been. It just feels like, we're back in. He's a peacock. You've got to let him fly territory again, where he's had his wings clipped. But he's trying to be such a good citizen. He's trying to do all the right things. He's working hard. He's chasing back. He's pressing. He's doing all of that stuff. And
it's not what we bought him to do, though.
Well, no, but Slot didn't buy him. Slot didn't buy him. We don't know what he wants him to do. That's the issue, isn't it? It's not looking like a particularly good fit.
I know what he wants him to do.
But I just think he's
put the ball in the fucking back of the net.
He's trying to do the right things. He's trying to do what he's being asked to do, but it's coming at a cost of him doing the things that he's good at doing. The things that made him the big exciting player that whether you were convinced by him or not, everyone enjoyed watching him. He was always involved and stuff. That's not like that anymore.
The problem you've got, Dave, is at one point this season, you made the point on the back of Slot saying that maybe the number 9's not going to get a lot of goals the way we're set up because it was all the wide players doing it. But as time's gone on, that's changed a little bit. So Jota comes back in after being out for ages, goes up front, bang, goal. Diaz has been an absolute revelation in that role for me, playing as the 9. I mean, you could argue it's not a 9 because he's dropping in, doing all kinds of different bits and bobs, but through the centre...
Yeah, he's not playing as a 9, no.
No, he's not, but the point is he's...
And also, I have to reiterate again, the hat-trick against Leverkusen, 2 of them were when he was on the left wing.
Yeah, when he's on the left, no, but my general point is...
No, I know what you mean, but...
I don't think you can now say it's a case that whoever plays centrally up front in that front three doesn't score goals because of the system. I don't think it's that.
I think Jota's got 3 league goals, mate.
Yeah, but he's been fucking injured.
I know, but if you look at the
and he came
numbers...
back from injury, waltzed in against Fulham and scored.
Yeah, you set him up, he played him through.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm talking about the central striker getting a goal.
But the central striker was actually dropping off and playing the pass for...
Staring you right in the face, mate.
Okay.
Staring you right.
If you want to go down that road, Slot actually said after Jota's goal in that game, Jota was playing in midfield against Fulham.
Dropping in and
he said
and doing all kinds of things.
said Jota was playing in midfield.
Why was he in that position?
Because Darwin had dropped off and created the space, just like last week when Diaz had come off and Szoboszlai was running into the space. Jota plays in midfield against Fulham. Slot actually said that in his press conference.
Well, we played like a from fucking 5, didn't we? That was.
But Jota was the deep one, and then in that moment,
I don't think he did. I think we played 2 up.
Well, take it up with Slot. Don't take it up with me. Take it up with Arne Slot because he's on record as saying that Jota was in midfield.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Again, we're not...
Your boy's just fucking not doing well enough, mate.
I want to see more from him, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a combination of things going on, and his confidence has obviously been affected by it, because it's difficult. He's not getting loads of chances now, but the way I'm looking at it...
He had a couple in this game, one's just popped up in my head.
There was a header where he didn't... Yeah.
He should have done better with that.
He could have done better.
Not a great chance, don't get me wrong.
I would have liked to have seen him get... Yeah, I don't think it's one where you would expect a goal to come from it, but I would have liked a better contact on the header.
I think most fair-minded Reds, mate, at this point though, are looking at that situation and thinking, "Hang on, we're going to have a decision to make before too long."
I'm okay with that. Look,
if he gets to the end of the season and he scored another 3 or 4 goals, for instance, it's very difficult.
If you get to the end of the season and it looks like okay. He's tried everything he can. It's not an attitude thing. Is it? He's given his best. It's not a good fit. We want someone like, for example, when you watch Cunha at Wolves, you look at how he plays.
Brilliant,
and yeah, he is. But you look at how he plays and go, well, that looks more of what we're looking for from a number 9, someone who's going to play that way. Like when Diaz plays there,
yeah,
clearly that's a better fit for how we want to play, which is it's not the same, it's different, but the way we had with Firmino, he was never the focal point you were wanting goals from. He was the third one, because the goals were coming from the wide players, and he was a facilitator for all that.
Yeah,
and it looks like
that's
kind of if that's what we want to be going back to, and that's what we're wanting from the number 9 to be playing like that. Well, that's not Darwin's game. So if you look at that and go, he's not the best fit for what we want to do. He's played his part this year, and now we're looking at bringing someone else in. I'm okay with that. I understand the reason for that. I also understand fans who are like questioning that. My problem is that the fucking ones who are going, oh, he's shit, and fucking get rid of him. Hang on a minute. This is why I've got a big problem with this, right? We're not Man United. We're not fucking 12th or 13th in the league where all the players are fair game because you're like, this is not good enough. We're shite. Who needs to go? He needs to go. He needs to go. He needs to go. I don't want any of our players to go. We're top of the league by a fucking distance. We've won every Champions League game. We're in the semis of the Carabao Cup. Things could not be going better than they are. Why do people need to be like still looking at players and go, get rid of him, he's shit, fuck him off. And it's not just Darwin, but like even the stuff about like we need a new left back, get rid of Robertson. All that, it pisses me off. It's like, what fucking hell? Look where we are. Things are good. Things are like almost as good as they could possibly be. You couldn't imagine being in this situation, and you're still going to be a miserable cunt fucking slagging off Darwin Núñez because he hasn't scored in a game that we've won fucking 4-0 or whatever. These are rich people problems. And I just feel like, when people are kicking off about it, you just sound like spoiled bastards. If a decision needs to be made at the end of the season, the manager will make the decision. And if he brings someone in who he thinks is a better fit than what we've got now, whether that's Darwin or whether that's like at left back or, someone coming in to replace Endo, whatever the case may be, whoever they decide, that's fine. I'm not going to be sitting here now slagging off any of our players when we're in this position. I just think it's embarrassing. Like, I know Twitter's not a representation of anything, but Christmas Day, wake up Christmas morning, have a little look on Twitter, I see a tweet from Darwin where he's putting something out about, like, Merry Christmas or something like that. And, like, the first 5 replies I seen was cunts just going, the sooner you leave my club, the better. You're the fucking worst thing at this club. And I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking Christmas Day. You've got nothing better to do than fucking send abuse to a player when we're top of the fucking everything. It's not like you're lashing out because we're shit. Man City fans might want to lash out at fucking Haaland because his form's dropped off. United fans can lash out at everyone because they're absolutely shit and everyone's laughing at them. I understand. I don't condone it, but I understand when fans in that situation start lashing out at players and that because they're pissed off at how shit the team is. What's the excuse for this? What's the excuse for having a go up at our players? It's mental. And it's not even like Darwin's been shit. He hasn't been what we want him to be. He's not scored like fucking 15 goals this season or whatever. But he's contributed. Don't tell me he's not contributed. And he's contributing to a team that's fucking well clear at the top of the league, won every Champions League match, is like on the verge of fucking going to Wembley for another cup final. He might not have been like the main contributor, but he's done his bit. He's working hard. He's making like goal contributions, the odd assist, the odd goal. He's done stuff. It's not like he's been fucking dog shit. And yet you see people reacting like this, and I'm like, what? If it's not him, it's going to be someone else. There's always going to be someone who they're going to be looking at and go, get rid of him. I want this fucking shiny new toy. And that's all well and good when you're 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th in the league and you're like, how can we get better? This is not good enough. We've got to look at areas where we need massive improvement. Like, well, if everyone's fit, he's probably not in the team anyway. So why is it a big deal? This is what I don't get. It's like, if he's your 5th choice striker, then you're in pretty good fucking shape.
I think it's a couple of things. One, it's how much he cost. Like,
not his fault.
Not his fault, yeah. But, in the modern game and everything, and I don't disagree with a lot of what you've said there, to be fair. I'd love to fucking just wind you up and take the piss out of you, but, I can't disagree with that. But fans do look at how much you spend on players and expect a certain bit back in return, and when it doesn't quite happen, some of them will turn on you. But let's be honest.
But that's bollocks as well, O'Brien, because
it's not the match-going fans, is it? They're all way behind
that's true. But what did we pay for Robbo? Fuck all. But so was the expectation if Robbo makes a mistake, do people go, oh, we only cost fucking 8 million?
Mate,
yeah, but it's stupid. You shouldn't be judging it by the price. You shouldn't.
It's gonna happen.
The only way you should be judging that by the price is if like it's you've wasted a fucking load of money, which we haven't. You look at the players that we've spent over the money that we've spent over the years. Well, no, we haven't though, really. Who have been like the massive flops?
How much was it?
I'm not specifically talking about Darwin. I'm talking about, like, if you make a signing that's, like, so fucking shit and it's impacting on anything else you can do. Like, if you look at Man United, all the money they've spent on, like, fucking Anthony and people like that who've done fucking nothing. Loads of other players who I can name. And now they're in a position where, like, they're really struggling to be able to buy players because they've wasted so much on shit. We're not in that situation. So even if you see Núñez as a mistake, you know, well, we've paid too much, he's a mistake. It's not like it's impacted our ability to do anything else. And he's contributed, that's the thing. You know, as long as Mo's there doing Mo things, Darwin doesn't need to be fucking scoring 30 a season. Now, ideally, yeah, you're saying, well, I'd like someone who's going to do that. You might not get that anyway. While Mo's in the team, Mo's going to be the one scoring all the goals, because that's how it's been since he's been here, regardless of who else has been up there with him. He's been the one who's led the charge every single season. So that's not going to change. If you bring Cunha in, how many goals is he going to score? He's not going to score like a shitload, but he's going to be doing other things that are probably going to benefit the team more than what Darwin's doing, because of the style and it being a better fit. So I'm totally willing to accept all of that. You know, obviously if it happens, I'll be gutted that he's gone, but I'll accept that. I understand the reasons for it. What I don't understand is the fucking hate and, like, the shit that he's getting. It's totally unwarranted.
Yeah, but a lot of that's fucking bots and shit like that, Dave. Like, you can't underestimate that kind of stuff. Like, Twitter's terrible for that kind of shit, isn't it? Like,
no, that is true. I know. Well,
how many?
You know,
it's probably four bots, and Terry will be the replies to that tweet that you mentioned. Basically, that's what it'll be. Well, all right, 3 bots and 2 replies from Terry.
Yeah. With that. So, but the other thing is, on the same day, Mo put his Christmas tree picture up.
Oh yeah, he got some stickers.
And the replies to that again.
I didn't get that. What was the problem with that?
Oh, it happens every year. Every time he does it, there's loads of Muslims will just have a go at him, because I don't really understand, to be honest, because it's Christmas, it's a Western thing. They're like, you're setting a bad example to other Muslims. I don't know. I don't really get it, but it causes murder every time he does it. So I'm looking at the replies to that, and again, it's fucking horrific. But the thing that jumped out at me, I seen the exact same message. I didn't scroll through all the replies. Scrolled down for, like, 30 seconds, a minute. I seen the exact same message 6 times. And the message was like, it was word for word, exactly the same thing. The only thing that changed was the team that they support. It was something like, the first one I seen was, I'm a Bayern fan, but I've always admired you. Like, but this, blah, 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 blah. Remove this tweet or I will have to unfollow you. And then the next one is, I'm a Madrid fan. And it was like the exact same wording. And there was like at least 6 of them. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Obviously it's bots, but what's the end game here? What's the point? What's the purpose of it? Who's like
something far too clever?
I don't understand what it's mental. Why you like putting that exact same tweet out, just changing the team name and saying the same thing?
It's trying to influence people.
It's just, it's bizarre.
Way, but I don't really know.
It's fucking Twitter's. It's an absolute cesspit. If you ever go into the replies on anything,
honestly, I
just don't do it.
I
don't usually do it.
Just don't. You know what I mean?
And just occasionally,
good comes out.
I know. Occasionally, your curiosity kicks in, and you just think, "Oh, let me just have a little look there," and then, oh my god, no! You just think, "What? It's just fucking horrific."
So anyway, back to the game. I think we got on to talking about Darwin because of his chance that he had. That good bit of play that we had. No, it was good. It was a good chance, that.
Half chance.
The football was really good.
We need Stu on with the XG on that. No more than 0.5, I reckon.
Do you know the thing with XG that I've never kind of understood? And I need to be careful here.
The entire point of it.
No, I get that. It's about, measuring the quality of chance and that. But am I right in thinking that it's the same, you get the same amount of XG for that chance, regardless of who the player is?
Yeah.
Who's having the chance? Is that how it works? It's a baseline number. Okay. So if, say for instance, I'm just going to pluck any player out here, centre half for Brighton, that dunk, if he's got a chance from 12 yards and Mo Salah's got a chance from 12 yards, it's the same expected goals. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't get that.
No, neither do I. I think I said on a previous pod, it's like if you've got a chance and it's me on the end of it, or it's Terry on the end of it, it's not the same XG. I'm sorry. It just isn't.
Of what though, scoring a goal or bringing a plane down?
But if we're talking like expected putting it over the fence, then Terry's going to be like a fucking 100%. But that's part of why I just think it's flawed. You know, it's not. I don't really put too much in it at all, unless it suits my argument for a particular thing, and then I'll throw it in there. But generally, no, it's bollocks.
Yeah, I don't get it. That's the thing that I've struggled with quite a lot with it. Because if you're like a team who dominates the game and has like more of the ball, so of course you're going to have more attempts, so your XG is going to be higher. But then you've also got a higher quality player. So surely it should be weighted based on...
Yeah, well, it is an interesting
I don't know how
thought.
you do that. That's a difficult thing to do, but...
I don't know the answer to this, but it's along the same lines. So say, if we're talking... All right, let's see the Darwin chance then. So, he's right-footed. That's on his right foot as he's running onto it. What if he was a left-footed player? Would that still be seen as the same XG? Because it shouldn't be. So I think it should. Instance, yeah. And I'm assuming that this is taken into it. It's like, it would just say, regardless of who the player is, it's like, okay, that chance, is it on a strong foot? If it is, then that's how we're working out the XG. If it's on his weak foot, then we're looking at that. So regardless of whether you're right-footed or left-footed, it should just go, the chance was on the player's strong foot. So that's how you work it out.
Go then? The player's a centre-half who's never scored.
I don't think you can go that far. Yeah, I don't think... There's no metric for that. I don't see how you could do that. I know what you're saying, and that's why I agree it's flawed. But I do think you've got to take into account if it's on the player's strong foot or not. But then you've got some players who are like naturally really, two-footed, and then others are just the weak foot's like just for standing on. Yeah. So Jota hasn't really got a weak foot.
It's an interesting thought. Like I know that Monty and other people now will be saying it's just an indicative thing. It's not something that you need to lose your mind and go into crazy levels for. But then I would argue with them, why the fuck did they even bring it in the first place?
And the people who say that are the same people that fucking bombard you with it.
I do look at it though, I've got to be honest. If I'm checking like out a game that I'm not actually watching, I'll have a quick look at the stats and I will look at expected goals, because generally speaking, it does give you an indication of who's on top in the game or who's created the better chances anyway. Like if you look at the Arsenal-Ipswich game tonight, for instance. It was fucking nuts, by the way. I mean, I was watching it and Arsenal had so much of the ball, I was thinking, hang on, fucking hell, what's the possession here? And then I had Flash scored and it was 91% of the ball.
Fucking hell.
That's just ridiculous.
The 10 minutes I watched, it must have been 100%.
Oh, it was just mad. They won 1-0, by the way.
Yeah, I've just seen that, yeah. Ipswich were a fucking disgrace from what I've seen. It's like the worst performance. It was only 10 minutes, but like, no, this is even more defensive than Everton. This is like the worst I've seen any team look all season.
Yeah. They couldn't keep the ball for fucking 2 passes, you know what I mean? Where you want to kind of secure the ball a little bit to start going forward. They just kept turning it over. Not even necessarily because the pressing was that good. They were just terrible with the ball. You were like, oh, fuck off. But as I said earlier on, it's great to be watching games and just wanting another team to drop points again. Yeah,
they've got Brentford away next.
They've got some tough games. We'll get to that. Like I had a little look earlier, 4 in a row, which not easy.
Right, let's get to Mo. He's got no right to score that goal. It's just a fucking ridiculous goal, isn't it?
The big thing for me with that goal is how easy and just regulation he made it.
That's exactly what I thought.
You know what I mean? You just passed it into the corner, that's just what you do. When you get the ball here, you just do that. You just fuck it. You don't just do that though, unless you're a world-class player who and the big thing with Mo was, I'm saying this to my missus watching the game, is how he's just able to just forget so much of the bang average stuff that he does. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I said earlier, he'll misplace a stupid pass, and any normal footballer would let that affect them. They'd be frustrated with themselves. They wouldn't necessarily want the ball. They might go hide, and you see that all the time with players, and it's understandable because we're all human, we all have flaws, emotions get involved, it's difficult. But he's just like an assassin, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's cold-blooded. He's got this single view in his head that no, I have to score goals, I have to create goals, that's my job, keep giving me the ball. And he's just a fucking machine. He's an absolute machine. That that goal was just fucking sublime. Just the way he passed it into the corner, and it was one of the first really good things I thought he did in the game. He's a bit unlucky with the one in the first half that hit the bar.
Yeah.
But now he's fucking worth his weight in gold, and I know that everybody's talking about a contract situation, and he got asked about it again, didn't he, after the game? And we need to sort that out. Not because it's got any kind of threat of derailing anything, because we can see, can't we, with the free players, it's not. They're still performing. There's clearly no distraction or anything there. It's just more for just a boost it would give you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Flying high, top of the league, you're a few points ahead. Imagine if you then had the contract sorted with him as well, you know. But on the flip side, there's an argument to be said that, hang on, don't change anything now. Like, why would you do it? Like, he's obviously performing. Probably just because he wants to perform anyway. It might not have anything to do with the contract, but why would you change anything? So that's a talk. Where do you stand on that? What would you be looking to do? Get it sorted, or do you think he'll sign a contract with someone else if we don't?
No, I'm 100% sure he's going to sign a contract here, but I don't necessarily think it's going to happen soon. But I'm 100% sure.
Do you think at any point? Do you reckon if we get to March, April, he's still?
He's not going anywhere. Why? Where's he going to go? Where that's going to be better than where he is. This is the best place for him. He knows that. Liverpool don't want him to go, and that everything else is just noise. It's like, just eventually figure out like a compromise where everyone feels like they're happy and they've not lost face. And that might take a while, because they may be a fair distance apart, but it'll get done, because I just don't see any way. He's too invested in records and legacy. Where's he going to go? He's not going to go to another English club. I think his options to go abroad are limited. He's not going to Saudi. He's fucking far too proud for that.
Definitely not going to Saudi.
No,
that's clear. I saw his reaction to getting asked about that recently in an interview, and like just his body language, the way he almost laughed.
He's definitely staying. I just don't necessarily think it'll be done soon.
I don't know, you know. I don't have a strong feeling on it either way. I really don't.
I do.
If I woke up tomorrow and it was like he signed a 2-year extension, then I'd be like, yeah, sound, that makes sense. But then if something came out about it, he's going elsewhere. Not now. I don't think anything would happen. I think it would be more towards the end of the season. I wouldn't be shocked by it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't totally be like, fucking hell, because just look at the circumstances. You know what I mean? He's free to do whatever he wants, kind of thing.
Yeah, but he's fourth on the goal scorers list. And he look at that and he knows he can get to number 2.
He can't do one, can he?
He might have it in his head that he can get. Well, he can't.
He can't.
But it's Mo. He may have it in his head where he thinks he's got an outside shot of getting one. He's not going to.
He mentioned it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like he got recently in one of the, might have been a post-match interview, and he just mentioned Rushy, didn't he? And he said, how's he scored that many goals? I haven't got a clue. And that kind of was a way of him going, you just can't do that. If anyone can do it, though, you know, if he's still playing until he's like 38, for instance, then fucking hell, why not?
Imagine how fucking greedy he'd be if he got within like 15 or 20 of it. He'd be shooting every time he got the ball. But what I was going to ask you, do you think this is his best season? Like, so far? If what he's done so far, if he repeats that for the remainder of the season, and we win the title, possibly the Champions League, whatever, and he gets a Ballon d'Or, is this his best season?
It depends how much weight you put on an individual's personal performance linked to the team. I've never liked that, you know, where people will go on about, oh yeah, but he never won the league, so how can you say that? That's bullshit. I don't like that argument, so I can't then say, well, yeah, because we won the league on the back of it, then that was his best, you know, performance season. For me, his first season was fucking outrageous. Like, outrageous. Like, it felt like, and I don't know, because, you know, as time goes on, you look at it, you learn more about a player, obviously, the more times you see them. I don't recall thinking that he was a moments player in that first season, and he had sloppy spells in games. To me, he was just fucking incredible. You know, like, who the fuck is he? This is unbelievable. He was scoring like pretty much every week.
That season was an outlier, though.
Yeah, it was, and that's why for me that was his best season, because like you can't repeat that. It's not possible to do it. Like, it was just crazy.
Well, Messi and Ronaldo did that, because that's the territory he was in at that point. You know, with scoring like 44 goals in a season, that was Messi and Ronaldo land, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they're playing
were doing
in a
that.
two-team league. Like,
no, I agree.
Playing for the, it's not the same league. It's not the same. I mean, what was Ronaldo doing for United, numbers-wise? I know he was clearly a really good player, wasn't he? But was he hitting? He wasn't hitting the same figures.
I think his last season there, he got like a shitload. I think he got like 30 odd.
Yeah.
And but that's when he was just becoming Ronaldo, then, wasn't he? But no, the only argument for me as to why, I'm not saying this is his best season, but I think you can make a case if this carries on, and it's not just about the goals, which he probably wouldn't be that far off. I'm not saying he'll get 44, but he looks like he's on for like over 30. But the thing is, like, he's on 16 Premier League goals. I don't know what he's got in all competitions. I've not looked at that. But it's the assists. And like, I think we both agree assists is like, generally it's a bullshit stat. You don't read too much into it. But you do with Mo, because his assists are fucking proper assists. It's him putting a chance on a plate for someone to score. That's most of his assists. That's what they are. It's not like he's taking a corner and someone's headed it in, or he's passed it across the box and someone's lashed one in from 30 yards. His assists, like him getting the ball, playing a pass with the outside of his foot right across the box and someone runs in and scores. That's most of his assists come that way. So like, he wasn't doing that in his first season. He didn't need to. That's not what his role in the team was. But I don't think he had that in his locker then. It's something he's developed over time. And he's working on it, because you can see on the inside training videos where they actually do that. Mo stands on the halfway line with the ball and he's hitting passes with the outside of his foot, and they've got runners running into the box to score. So it's something that they actually work on now. But like,
it's definitely something that's come into his game naturally, though, as he's developed as a player as well, I think.
So
like
he may have lost certain things to some extent, but he's enhanced it with the likes of this. So even in those games when he's having Mo games where it's like, fucking hell, it's not going for him today. They're like, but you still, if he doesn't score, he's going to set someone up with something like that. And it's happening like every game. When was the last game when he didn't do something?
It's fucking nuts.
The last game he didn't score or assist.
It was literally 30 seconds after I wrote in a group chat, fucking hell, Mo's being terrible today. And he just fucking goes, bump, shut up, Brownie.
But how often does that happen, though? That's a regular thing. Yeah. If it's not you, it's someone else, like it's me or it's Stu. There's always like someone doing it. And then
facts, though, isn't it? Yeah. Like, for me, he wasn't having a good game. And there's loads of fucking games where he's not having a good game, but he pops up and he does something special. That's who he is as a player. Like, That's what sets him apart, I guess. Like, I mean, you'd look at it, wouldn't you? If you didn't watch Liverpool play and you just looked at the stat sheets and all, who's the top scorer, and you look at his numbers, you'd be like, fucking hell, he must be unbelievable all the time, and he's not.
And then you see some of the absolute dog shit things he does during the game.
And you think, how's the same player doing like those things in the same game? It makes no sense, but goes back to what I said earlier. He just ignores the shit. And it just keeps going.
The most mentally strong footballer probably we've ever had.
That is his biggest strength, 100%. Mm-hmm. It's that mental capacity to like just forget your mistakes and get on with it, because it's a really difficult thing to do. It really is. But your point is a really good one, actually, about the assists as well, because didn't Thierry Henry get 20 goals and 20 assists in one season? In the Premier League? And like, that is nuts, but he's on course for that. When you look at the numbers now, he could go beyond that, which would...
I'm not sure. We'd need to ask Mo, because I fucking guarantee he knows.
Oh, we'll know.
He'll definitely know.
That'll be something in his head, won't it?
Yeah, they'll be on his wall, and then he's got like a red marker pen where he just crosses things off. Yeah, done that.
Yeah, fucking unbelievable. Do we have any concerns about fatigue with him? Minutes, because obviously Chiesa's not really been available. I know he's back now.
I do, because I think like, if we look back, I mean, I think pretty much every season he's been here up until Christmas, January. He's generally been fucking brilliant every year, and there often has been a drop off. Not necessarily a massive drop off at times. Sometimes he's like, even like the 44 goal season, I think there was a bit of a drop-off in terms of his numbers in the second half, because the way he'd started, it was like he could score fucking 60. So I don't think his second half is usually as good as the first half. Now, AFCON's played a part in that at times as well. Last year specifically. I mean, the second half of last season, he was fucking awful. AFCON totally killed him last year. Never recovered from that at all.
Well, the bad thing about him last season, really, as it went on, he was basically as he is now without the good moments, wasn't he? That's what it was. He was just not coming up with those match-winning like moments, which is everything that he's about. He has to be doing that. That not just how it is as him as a player. He has to be contributing those big things because he does have those kinds of spells in games where he's not doing a lot. For me, Chiesa needs to step up now. So there's certain games I'm looking at. I mean, obviously the FA Cup game
and the League Cup as well.
Don't even be, the League Cup. I don't know.
I'm having Mo on the bench. I'm not starting him in them games.
No, on the bench, yeah. But I mean, Accrington Stanley game, he's not. He's just staying at home.
Yeah.
Don't even put your fucking trackie on. You know what I mean?
Even the Champions League, I'm probably resting him.
Well, how does that work? I mean, there's the financial aspect of the Champions League about winning game. Well, it's over £1 million or something if you win a game.
Yeah, but I still think you should be able to win without him. And I'd have him on the bench. I'm not leaving him at home.
So PSV and Lille, isn't it, left to come? Yeah.
Should be able to win both of those without him anyway. I just think we do need to be a bit careful.
If you finish first, how does that work?
It's a total lottery.
Like home tie and away tie and all that shit?
He supposedly will get an easier opponent, but it doesn't work like that because it depends who's underachieved and finished lower than they should. You know,
we've already
it's
pretty much guaranteed top 8, haven't we?
Yeah, we've guaranteed top 8, yeah.
Right, sound. Yeah.
I think we've guaranteed higher than that, to be honest.
Basically, what we're saying here now is we're starting to cherry pick, aren't we? Games, where can we give Mo a rest?
I think we need
because
to.
We're worried about. Yeah, I think so.
It's not worth it. I mean, I know he's Superman, but look at Arsenal now. Like, they never rest Saka. They just play Saka all the time. Arsenal fans are always ringing up the radio, slagging Arteta off for not resting Saka. They've all been saying he's going to get injured, and then lo and behold, he's out for 2 months, hamstring. So you do need to be careful. Yeah.
No, definitely. Like, and I don't really know whether we can expect much from Chiesa this season. I didn't actually see the League Cup game, the Southampton game. I know he came on and he nearly scored, didn't he, a couple of times in that, but I wasn't able to watch that game. So I don't know what he looked like, but we definitely need. If it's not him, then I mean, it can be we can get a bit creative, can't we? Maybe Diaz goes out and there's a game on the right. You've got enough players up there, haven't you, to be able to rotate a little bit and give them a rest. But we need to be thinking about that. Because, I mean, I was looking at the fixtures the other day and have we been playing like every 3 days now for a bit? Or it feels like we haven't. It feels like we've had some spells of like 5, 6, sometimes even a week between games. But looking at
the derby getting called off helped.
Oh, yeah. That'll be part of it.
Sorry, us getting the derby cancelled obviously helped.
Yeah, us not being ready for the game.
Evertonians is just fucking mental.
But no, it looks like it is pretty solid now of games every 3 days coming up, whereby there's going to be certain players that you've got to think about. Gravenberg's another one for me. You have to start thinking about protecting.
He's close to a suspension. 1 booking away.
Fuck, that was one thing I wanted to talk about. Dom, by the way.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. They held him back, didn't he? Mainly for that reason, and he comes on and gets a yellow card. Yeah. And he'd definitely be in the team on the weekend. Thought he was really good against Spurs, by the way. You know, I'm not his biggest fan, like he was fucking
he was his best game.
Really good.
The only
That's
thing
what you want to see more of, though, isn't it?
But he's not playing Spurs impact every week, is he?
I know. All that space to run into, which is what he wants.
Did you see that interview he did after the game?
No.
And he was laughing about it, and he said, I got cramp at the end, and he said, I never get cramp. He said, but I couldn't not run. He said, there was just, the space was just there. He's like, I just had to keep running, the space was there, so I had to run into it. And he said, and by the end, I'd done that much of it, I ended up with cramp. And he said he spoke to Alisson when he came off, and he didn't say it in so many words, but he basically said, I wish we could play them every week. But he said, I said to Alisson, I much prefer playing against a team like that who comes at you and leaves space rather than one that just sits in and stops you from running.
Don't we all? Jesus.
Yeah, but that booking's that's a pain in the arse because it's totally fucked up Slot's plans for West Ham now, which we may as well get to that now. He was obviously going to come back for that game. Now he can't play. which presumably means Curtis plays again, but you've also got Gravenberch on 4 bookings. Maybe you'd want to rest him as well, and you've got United up next. So ideally, if Dom was available this weekend, I'd probably be thinking maybe leave Gravenberch on the bench. Give him a rest.
Would you play as a 6, Maka, or would you bring Endo in?
I'd probably play Endo.
Yeah, I would.
I just don't want to make too many changes now. So
I want Gravenberch against the Manx because they're just ripe for midfield, just him running all over.
Oh, imagine.
I want him available for that. So if he does play on Sundays in pure protect mode, just don't even go into any challenges whatsoever. Like, I know you can't play the game like that in all seriousness, but you'd be having serious conversations with him about that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, look, if there's a 50-50 there, you know what I mean? Just use your head a little bit.
I think I'd probably start Endo anyway. And I'd have Gravenberch on the bench if we needed to bring him on. But West Ham are not good. You know, we should be able to make a few changes and still go and beat them. I know there's no easy games, but they're not playing well. Like, you know, if you're playing away at Bournemouth or Fulham, somewhere like that, you do think, we can't really take too many liberties here. West Ham have got some good players, but they've just not been playing well.
I think they've picked up a little bit, though, haven't they? In the last few games, I know they've been.
But they've been playing shit teams.
Yeah.
I don't think they've been they've improved massively.
Play in a way that they're going to leave a lot of space as well, are they? Against us, they're going to sit in and try and frustrate us. And he's a bit of a shit house, that manager, isn't he?
Yeah, massively.
Like from foot or anything. So I think it's going to be more a case of how do we, pick them apart and how do you like break them down more than anything else.
So what are you doing? Team selection then?
I'd be tempted to give Harvey a start.
In place of who? In the 10.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what you could do, if you want to protect Gravenberch, you could drop Maka in as 6, potentially.
So Maka and Curtis is the 2 deep, and then Harvey further forward. I'd be fine with Harvey starting. Yeah, I think he's so creative.
Or you could even, if you have concerns about Curtis, maybe, because sometimes it can be volume with him as well, can't it? Too many games. You could have Endo, Maka and Harvey as the 3. That could work as well.
Let's not forget how fucking great Endo and Maka were together for around this time of last year. There was like a 2-month spell when we were flying, and them two were amazing.
Do you think he will do that with Gravenberch? Do you think he'll be looking ahead, or will he be doing that board and manager thing of no, the next game rather than thinking ahead?
I think it's 50-50 because it's not just looking ahead in terms of the booking. I think it's also getting them rest while you can. If this is it's a quick turnaround, so it's like Thursday to Sunday. Quickish turnaround, maybe make a few changes.
I think he'll play him, but I don't think he should. That's where I am on it.
Yeah, I'd say that's most likely, yeah.
Yeah. And then in terms of Diaz had come back in, nice for him to get a proper rest, by the way. That was a good bonus about yesterday.
Yeah.
Not even getting on the pitch at all. I'd play him through the middle as well, again, because for me it's going to be the type of game where they sit in. So if he's dropping in, it gives them something else to think about, doesn't it? In terms of centre half, do I follow him in there? Do I stay in and protect the space? If you do that, you're letting them turn and then run at you, kind of thing. So it gives them something to think about. Mo will start, we know that. Carry on with Gakpo on the left, I think.
Any defensive changes?
Possibly Costas for Robbo, maybe. I don't think he will, but I wouldn't.
He subbed Robbo, didn't he? So maybe that was his rest. He brought him off 10 minutes ago or something.
Or maybe he's got Costas in mind for Sunday, so he wanted him to have a few minutes.
I'd be okay with putting Costas in and just giving Robbo a bit of a rest. I'd be fine with
that. It'll be Verge and Joey G, won't it? Centre half. Gomez, by the way, yesterday was fucking brilliant. Yeah, really, really good.
I thought he was excellent.
Back to his best kind of thing. I don't think he was great recently. Was it the Newcastle game? Really poor.
Yeah, that was a bad. He's been good apart from that one game.
Yeah. And that's not an easy game. They haven't half picked up their form, when you look at it.
The 4th now, aren't they? Or 5th?
The 5th.
Yeah, the 5th.
Are they that high?
Yeah, they went above Bournemouth into 5th.
Fucking hell, that's snuck up a little bit on it. I'm having a little look now. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, so everyone's just flying above Man City now, aren't they?
Yeah, fucking mad.
They're going to be in the bottom half at United soon.
Mad. Yeah, so Newcastle have won 4-0, 3-1, 4-0, 3-0 in a row. So yeah, they've picked up. So that looks more and more like not a bad point, does it? So when I was saying earlier about draws Killian, we had a couple in a row. You think Newcastle away is not an easy place to go when they're picking up form. And they were a handful on that night, weren't they? It wasn't an easy game, that.
No, it wasn't.
Isak's obviously in good form. Gordon's in good form. They're picking up, so it's not a bad point, that. And then obviously the Fulham game's circumstances in it. You get a player sent off, so in that sense, it makes sense.
Yeah.
No, so what else? What was said in the presser about players coming back?
He said...
I saw something about Connor.
He said, yeah, them two, not this weekend, but possibly the weekend after. Yeah, Konate and Bradley, because he said like they won't be ready for this weekend, but he's hoping to have them back in training with the group next week.
Right, okay.
Which I don't think they'll come back in for United, but we've got those cup games coming up, so just having more bodies in the squad to be able to change things around, that's perfect. That's just what we need.
Just thinking again about the front three, he could bring Diaz back in on the left and start Jota, couldn't he? Give Gakpo.
I don't think he'll start Jota. I think he's been really careful with him.
Yeah, I think that as well.
I think it's too soon to be putting him in from the start. I would just, for the next, 3-4 games, I don't think I think that injury was, it took a lot longer for him to get over than they thought.
Happened? Did he break a rib?
They never said. We know it was a rib injury, but they never said. But the thing is, though, the only thing Slot said was, he said that he always says like the final stages of recovery is when sometimes that takes longer, and you can't really predict that. And the final stage of Jota getting over that took ages. Yeah. So they had to be really careful with him. And even when he scored, he didn't train the next day because he was a bit sore.
Yeah. So I think he's broken a rib, honestly. Yeah. 11 games it said he missed.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not a small injury, that is it? Something bigger than they let on. But yeah, so maybe they are being really cautious with him. At some stage, you've got to just let him go, haven't you? You know what I mean? You can't keep doing that.
I'd be looking at the cup games for...
middle, though, mate.
If I'm starting Jota, I'm looking at the cup games for that. Keep using them off the bench in the league games. The good thing is we don't need to rush him back. The team's doing well. That's the good thing about all the injured players. We're not in a panic to get them back in. You look at City, they're bringing players back left, right and centre, and they're getting injured again. Because it's a desperation.
They're in crisis mode, aren't they? So they're trying anything that'll work. And obviously we're not. We're coming at it from a good position where you can be a bit more selective about who you use. I tell you what, it's actually a difficult one to predict what he's going to do on Sunday. Usually you have a good idea, don't you? But this one, there's different ways you could see him possibly going, which wouldn't surprise you. So I don't think it's an easy one.
Yeah. I think we'll probably see 3 or 4 changes.
Oh yeah, there'll definitely be changes. It's just about where he does it, I think. Is it straight to United after that game? We don't have a...
I don't think we've got a midweek game, have we?
Why is there no games like New Year? I don't get it.
I don't know. Is it part of this... it's not a winter break, but they're just trying to ease it off a little bit.
No, but there's... So Brentford Arsenal on New Year's Day. And that's it, I think. Why? See, there's one game on New Year's Day.
Yeah, I think it's just for the fixture load.
Does that... Hang on. So does that mean Arsenal can get within 3 points of us? But we'd have 2 games in hand. Didn't know that,
Yeah, I don't like all that shit. I'd rather be playing.
Shall we get on to that? I wanted to talk about just where we stand in terms of the league in general. And
yeah, well, because you missed the Christmas pod when we all gave our predictions, so yeah, feel free. The floor's yours.
I put a poll on, didn't I, on our group. Now, our group's got 10 people in it. It's not necessarily everyone who contributes to the podcast. There's quite a lot. And straight after the game, I just felt like it's not quite halfway through the season, but, symbolically for me, Boxing Day is halfway through the season. So I was like, right, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Are we going to win the league? And only 60%, so only 6 out of us said yes. Now, I gave you the option of yes, no, or don't know. And we had 4 who said don't know, which, is fair enough.
Nah, it's not. It's a fucking disgrace, to be honest. If you say no, then fine, but I don't know. No, that's fucking... You're not on the overlap with millions of people watching. You're in a fucking group chat with 10 people. Have an opinion. Don't know. Wasn't down with that.
To be fair, I shouldn't have even given that as an option.
No, you shouldn't. But at the same time, it needs pointing out, you were not one of the people who was saying don't know or be in the Downton House, and you're usually the shit house, and you weren't. So I think that needs pointing out. Like, you know, you've lost the shit house tag now.
It's not shit. Like, at what point though do you turn around and go, it's not shit house, it's just calling it right?
After you get proved right.
How many times?
Up until the point you prove right. I know, but up until you prove right, you're
every
shit
time.
house.
Every time. You even turn around. You've turned around 2 or 3 times and said to me, like individually, like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that again," and then you fucking do it again. Like, you don't learn from it. Like, I just call it as I see it.
You've got to enjoy the moment. If you can't hope, what's the point?
No, you can. Yeah, but there's a difference between like hoping something and saying it just because you think you should say it, and actually genuinely thinking it and believing it.
Listen, we were top after 30 games last year. It's not like it was a wild fucking take to say that we were going to win. After 30 games, we were top. Okay, we couldn't see it out. But it's not like...
But if somebody turned round to you and said, I don't think we're going to do it, you call them a shithouse and then the wheels fall off. They weren't a shithouse. They called what they saw and they got it right. You just have to turn around and go, fair enough.
Yeah, but did you say it after 30 games? You said it earlier. I was calling you a shithouse because you said it early in the season. Yeah,
possibly. I don't know. But also, by the way, you didn't predict us to win the league. You know what I mean?
What, so this year? I kind of did.
Last year or this year?
I kind of did this year.
Last year or this year, we both said second or third.
This year I said third, and then I said, although I think we can finish above Arsenal and City will get a points deduction. So I was after a couple of weeks, I said we'd win the league, but that was because I thought, yeah, I'm taking City out of it because they're going to get a points deduction. I did not foresee City to turn into absolute fucking dog shit, which is so great. It's so.
I think for me,
enjoyable.
though, the difference. What I wanted to talk about was the difference with last season. So, when you watched us last season, I just had that nagging doubt. Do you know what I mean? How many times did we win games when we didn't play very well last year? It was happening all the time, and it's a bit of a cliche in football, but it's a cliche because it's fucking true that performances catch up with you. You can't do that for the whole season. Now, all the teams that win the league will generally have a bad spell, and if you're winning games when you're not at your best, that's a good thing. Like, everybody knows that's just true. But when you're doing it consistently over a number of months, it's like, hang on a second, that's too much of a trend whereby it's going to catch up with you unless you start playing well. And that's what happened last season. We were getting away with it, and then it caught up with us.
When it caught up with us, though, we were flying at that point.
We're different, though, mate, this year. It's a different animal altogether. Like, there's so many different ways that we can beat you. We don't just have one way of playing. Now, as much as I love Kloppo, we had one way, and that was the way, and it was a fucking brilliant way, by the way. It was so intense, and it just got the blood flowing, and the passion and everything with it, and being inside the stadium, was just, under Kloppo, was just the fucking best place on the planet to be, and I'll never, ever want to change any of that. That was unbelievable. But it is true that if that way didn't work, we didn't really have another way. It was kind of keep doing plan A until it works, and sometimes you'd have to be able to, adjust your style and change based on who you play and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we had that in us as much as we do now. For me now, we're just a completely different animal. Like, we can dog a game out against you. We can keep the ball off you. We can counter-attack on you. We can run all over you. And as time's going on now with Slot, though, you're starting to see more and more of what he wants, which is less of that kind of possession, slow stuff. And it is more high-tempo, high press, win the ball, fucking strangle the opponent. The only thing he wants slightly different is you don't have to then go for the killer ball all the time. You can secure possession a little bit and probe a bit more. That's the only slight difference with what we did previously. But for me, that just makes you more of a threat. Our midfield now is so much more impressive than it was for me under the last, over the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's fucking... It just feels different to me. That's where I'm at with it. So I don't have the doubts that I had last year. I don't have them. I don't have that little thing popping up on my shoulder and going, yeah, but what about this? What about that? I just, if we were watching a different team, let's say we were languishing, let's say we were doing a City, and who we're talking about here now is Chelsea, just as an example, we'd all be saying objectively, they're going to win the league, the fucking best team. that's where I'm at with it. We are the best team. We are going to win the league. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think that a big part of that is because you're not having to think about City. It just gives you like so much more like breathing space. You're looking at it and going, well, who's going to catch us? And I don't see Chelsea having... There's no way Chelsea are going to catch us, so that just leaves Arsenal.
I do think Arsenal are a threat.
I think they're the only threat. I don't think they'll catch us. I think we'll be too strong, but they are the only threat.
Yeah.
But they've got no Saka for 2 months.
I think he played Martinelli on the right, didn't he?
Yeah.
Right. And then Trossard on the left.
Yeah, I think I don't think they'll cope too well without Saka with some of the tougher games that they've got. And it's any time they drop points, it's going to be like panic stations. Because as long as we keep winning...
They're in a position where they can't afford to, aren't they? When you're chasing, you've got to be perfect, haven't you? That's kind of the point you were making earlier, I think. That margin of error just reduces and reduces every time you drop points.
Yeah, it's so difficult.
It's going back to what I said earlier. They've got Brentford away on New Year's Day. Now, Brentford have got the joint best home record in the league with us.
How did they get on tonight?
Strong at home. Drew 0-0 at Brighton.
They were away, weren't they?
Yeah. They weren't very good first half, but second half they were.
They got beat at home by Forest last week. I think that was the first game they lost.
Man, Jesus.
I know, it's mad.
But no, that's not an easy game for Arsenal. Then Arsenal go to Brighton again, not an easy game. Then they have Spurs at home. No fucking mad.
Anything could happen there though. If Spurs have got like I don't know how long the keeper and the centre backs are out for. If they've got them back, Spurs can do anything. You know, they could be shit, but they could also like fucking run wild. They're just that type of team. Yeah. But the problem is, he just always wants to play the same way, regardless of what players he's got available or what the score is in the game. He's the opposite of Slot. Like Slot will adapt and change to do whatever's necessary. He won't. It's like, no,
he's an idealist.
Yeah, like, he'll do his thing no matter what. But if they have got their like best players available, they're a good side. I see Spurs definitely as a top 5 team, but you know things have gone badly for them recently, and the injuries aren't an excuse because the way they've dealt with it has been appalling. But if they don't have those injuries, I think Spurs are comfortably in the top 5, and probably someone who you'd be thinking they're going to be right up there with Chelsea, you know, for third. But the injuries is just... You can't play their style of football with the centre-backs that they're playing. No. You can't do it. But if they've got... I don't know how long those... I don't know how long Van der Ven's out for, or Romero, or the keeper. But if they were to get like 2 of those 3 back when they played Arsenal, then
I think they'll
who
be
knows?
Back by then, you know. Yeah. And then after that, they have Villa at home, which we saw what happened last year.
Yeah.
And Villa aren't the same this year, we know that. But again, that's not an easy game. Wolves away after that. They're picking up now under new manager. Then they have City at home, Newcastle away. So it's not an easy run of games, that. You know, they can easily drop some points there. But we are now literally, for me, just on Arsenal watch.
Yeah,
we just keep doing what
we're
doing. And just keep watching Arsenal. I'm not really paying attention to anything else. If Chelsea had won yesterday, I possibly would say something different about them. But I haven't watched that game yesterday. Fulham fully deserved that win, by the way. Yeah. That was not a fluke. They didn't sit in. They didn't counter-attack, you know what I mean? Like, they were a better team. They took the game to them, especially in the second half. They were really impressive. So now Chelsea aren't ready. So it's just Arsenal watch.
Agreed.
Times.
Anything else you want to cover?
No, I don't think so.
Do you know what? There was definitely something I wanted to cover and my mind's gone blank. Can't remember. No. Alright, we'll just do predictions for West Ham then.
I think we'll win 2-1. I don't think it'll be routine. I think we'll have a little bit of adversity to come through, but 2-1. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say, but I'll go 3-1 then, just to be different. But I was going to say 2-1. I agree with you. And then after that, it's United. Hopefully, I'll be ready to make me comeback for that. I can't believe how long it's taken me to get over this.
How many games you missed now?
I've missed the last 2 home games.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Has that ever happened before?
No. No. I've hardly missed any games. I was thinking about it, and like, but our record when I've not been there is fucking terrible. You know, even going back to like, I remember I missed the Watford game when I first brought the fanzine out. So that was in 99. I had like issue 1 of the fanzine, but I was on holiday. I was in Florida, so I didn't go to that.
First game of the season.
Yeah, and we got beat. Yeah, we fucking got beat. Yeah.
I remember.
So I missed that one. I missed Fulham the other week. Last season, I missed Palace when we got beat. And I don't know if I've missed any others. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 more. But yeah, the record's not great, like, when I've not been there. But thankfully, like, we won last night, which...
That fella behind you is fucking made up. You haven't been there, has he? Last couple of games.
Oh, he's only there once, the Darwin hater. He was only there once. Yeah. And the other fella who sat in front, he was, like, fucking telling everyone to sing. He's only been there the once as well.
I can't wait for, like, either of them or both of them to be there at United, and you're like, you're fucking lucky I wasn't here the last 2 games.
I will. You know what? I won't control myself if either of them start. The guy in front, he didn't say nothing the whole second half, though. He shut up after that. But if the Darwin haters behind me, I'm not having it. John's definitely going to have to hold me back, because, yeah, I mean, you've seen me in the chat, the way I'll fucking react. It's like I'm so protective of him. If you come at Darwin, I'm fucking coming after you. It's like, it's ridiculous how protective I am now, but... Yeah, that's the way it is.
Are you going to be doing that? Are you going to be doing that when he's playing for Crystal Palace?
He's not going to be playing for Crystal Palace. But no, I just want him to be happy and just be able to express himself and that. And if he needs to be somewhere else to do it, then that's fine. I'll go and get a season ticket wherever he ends up. Hopefully it's somewhere warm.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Right.
Yeah, it's on. Okay, so we'll be back after West Ham on Sunday. So until then, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you soon.